During slavery, slaves were forced to wear masks as to symbolically mark them as not having a voice and to be owned and under the control of another person. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught in His truth, and much respect to the brothers that are laboring in His work, and also to the believers scattered across the four corners of the earth, the hopeful elect of the USA. Shalom. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9, it says, "The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done, it is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun." NLT to the right, history merely repeats itself. It has all been done before, and nothing under the sun is truly new. You see? So when you consider what's going on right now, this is an attempt to enslave the masses, as you see back during the time of actual physical slavery. Muzzles were put upon the face of the slaves to signify their obedience unto their masters. Okay, pretty much tell them to shut the fuck up and obey orders. And that's what you see now currently. But it's just done in a more deceptive way, all right, in which we understand that, or you should understand, that the ones that are in power are trying to enslave the masses. And this is talking about the so-called white man, Esau. Starting with the bankers first, the elites, the globalists, who have gained control of the entire planet of the earth from the time of the Renaissance to rule it in wickedness. According to the book of Job 9 and 24, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So let's read this again. During slavery, slaves were forced to wear masks as to symbolically mark them as not having a voice and to be owned and under the control of another person. And when you really go into the in-depthness of what's going on, when you really get to the root of everything that's happening within this earth, what you find out according to biblical prophecy and the scriptures in its entirety is that everything is centered around power, control, dominion, rulership, kings and slaves. That's what this thing is all about, kings and slaves. And the bankers are the kings and everyone else is slaves under his system, okay? And so when you think about rulership, it was told, as a matter of fact, we'll just get this first, 2 Ezra 6 and verse 7, right? It says, "Then answered I and said, what shall be the pardoning of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that follow?" Speaking of Jacob and Esau, who were born of Isaac, the two rulers of the end of the worlds, okay? It says, "And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau," signifying that he was going to pull Esau out of power. Okay, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, so Esau, the so-called white man, as we understand, has been given dominion over the entire planet of Earth, and that was by the way of a blessing that was given to him. All right, but he was going to get that blessing by the way of deception and ultimately his sword. All right, by raping, robbing, and murdering, and committing all kinds of deception across the four corners of the earth. All right, so Genesis 27 verse 37, it says, Isaac, let's read it to the right, NLT. "Isaac said to Esau, I have made Jacob your master, and have declared that all his brethren will be servants." All right, so let's read it from the top again. Isaac said to Esau, the so-called white man, "I have made Jacob," the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Israelites, "your master." And what you find out is that the ones that are in rulership understand this. All right, and with them being in power, they have set up the system to enslave Jacob once more. Okay, and they're trying to do this perpetually by the way of a chip. Okay, to enslave not only his brother Jacob, but the whole world. And that's that blessing that was given to Jacob. Let's continue reading. "I have made Jacob your master, and have declared that all his brethren will be servants. I have guaranteed him an abundance of grain and wine," which represents riches. "What is left for me to give you, my son?" And Esau ended up crying like a bitch, and ultimately his father Isaac blessed him with the fatness of the earth. Okay, verse 40, he says, you will live by your sword and you will serve your brother. So he was going to get his rulership by the way of his sword, his military, his equipment. Dealing with the natives, when he came over here, he defeated them by the Gatling gun. Okay, it says, and you will serve your brother, but when you decide to break free, you will shake his yoke from off your neck. And that's when they came back into power for this last time after the Renaissance, after the Dark Ages, shall I say, which began the Renaissance, the rebirth of this nation. And so Esau, from that point on, hated his brother Jacob. As you're going to say in verse 41, it says, from that time on, Esau hated Jacob because their father had given Jacob the blessing. And Esau began to scheme, all right? He began to scheme, to plot, to deceive. I will soon be mourning my father's death, then will I kill my brother Jacob. And that's where we find ourselves at today, all right? And I want to go back to verse 37 and get this word master in a definition, or Lord. Okay, I have made him thy Lord. So Esau understands that the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans are made to rule over him, all right? But he wants to stop that from happening. So the Strong's definition simply means a master, a Lord, okay? So let's get the definition of the word master. Simple Google definition of master, and what you get is a man who has people working for him, especially servants or slaves. And that's simply what someone is if they're working for you. Now, the masses of people don't understand that, but you know, when you go to a day-to-day job and you work for a corporation or whoever it may be, you're doing nothing but forwarding the agenda of someone that is above you, okay, for their purpose. So that makes you a servant and a slave, no matter how you look at it. And ultimately, it leads up into the top bankers, the elitists, who are controlling and governing the entire planet Earth. So they have dominion over all the people, which makes everyone else slaves, all right? So no matter what you do, you know, you're not free in this life. You are a slave and a servant under the hands of Esau. Okay. Another definition that I wanted to get is from dictionary.com. All right. It says a person with the ability or power to use, control, or dispose of something. To dispose of something. So let's get that definition of dispose, which we should know what it means. It says to get rid of by throwing away or giving or selling to someone else, all right? To get rid of, all right? So Jacob had the power. Eventually, he was going to have the power to dispose or get rid of Esau, all right? He had the dominion. But now Esau, with his forgery, has tried to pretty much frame his birthright, okay, by deceiving the nations. And now he wants to dispose the Israelites. That's why you know, this jab is being mandated, all right? It's pretty much going to be mandated to take in order for you to work, and also eventually the chip, all right? After that, it's going to be the chip, which is going to signify the allegiance of these elites and what they want to do to control the masses. But what the Lord has done during this time is he's raised up a remnant who have been given the knowledge of what this man's true counsel really is, okay? And what is happening is that this has become a stumbling block to what they're trying to do. Proverbs 29:13, the poor and the deceitful man meet together. The Lord lighteneth both their eyes, okay? So let's read that to the right. It says, the poor and the oppressor have this in common. The Lord gives sight to the eyes of both, which represents true understanding of the truth. You know, from the left-hand side, which represents the bankers, and also the right-hand side, which represents the poor, the Israelites who have this true knowledge. So the poor would be the Israelites who understand what the elites know, the deceitful man knows, which is what? The truth. And this is what has caused us to meet together during this time, all right? This truth. And we are a target for extermination before these elites try to, establish the NWO, we have to be taken care of. So the Lord lighteneth both their eyes, all right, with what? Knowledge. And this is all about rulership. Okay? So going to 1 Samuel, what's happening right now is the Lord is transitioning kingdoms, all right? This is the last kingdom that was to rule before the establishment of the kingdom of heaven, in which the Israelites, the seed of Jacob, would be the world, or the rulers of the world to come, in which these devils understand that. All right, 1 Samuel 2 and verse 7. Okay, it says, the Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust. Poor represents the Israelites who are in a state of confusion. That's what the dust means, a low place. And lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, representative of Lazarus. Okay, to set them among princes and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he has set the world upon them. Okay, he will keep the feet of his saints, Israelites, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. You see that? By strength no man shall prevail. So this battle, as these elites understand, is not going to be by the way of a physical combat by us, but rather by the spiritual truth that is being pushed out upon the four corners of the earth, that is overthrowing this man's kingdom. Okay? And so with that being said, the Lord is lifting us up by the way of getting us to push this message throughout the four corners of the earth, which is overshadowing Esau's wickedness. Matter of fact, I'm just going through the spirit, so Salakia, I'm all over the place. Psalms 37 and 35, it says, I have seen the wicked in great power and spreaded himself like a green bay tree, all right, like a green bay tree. All right, so when these people came to power, they deceived the whole nations, or they deceived all nations, should I say. And they spread themselves, they spread their lies across the four corners of the earth, fooling everyone into thinking that they were the chosen, all right, covering up the truth and pushing lies. So this is representative of a corrupt tree, all right. When you go back into the garden, there was a corrupt tree within the garden. That tree was representative of the devil, all right, the serpent seed, which is the so-called white man today, right? So I have seen the wicked in great power, so-called white man, and spread himself like a green bay tree. So, this has corrupted everything that we see. But with the knowledge of what has been given from our Lord Yahweh Shai during this time, this is being overcome. So Isaiah 24, let's see here. It might be 25, Salakia. Yeah, Isaiah 25 in verse 7. He will destroy, and he will destroy in this mountain, representative of this government, all right, the face of the covering cast over all nations, and the veil that is spread over all nations. And this is representative of Yahweh Shai releasing this knowledge into this earth, and this knowledge began to flourish and to take control of the narrative that has been pushed out from Esau. But everything's a process. But what we see happening right now is because of truth being pushed out, and ultimately is going to overcome wickedness. So Habakkuk 2 in verse 14, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge, you see, of the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. And this is overthrowing, Esau's agenda. Verse 15, it says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, all right, and putteth thy bottle to him. And this drink represents philosophies, which cause you to be spiritually drunken, all right, and steer from the path of Yahweh Ba'ashmal Shai. It says that puttest thy bottle to him and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness, because the majority of our people, the 2/3, have no covering. They don't have the covering of the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashmal Shai, which is the law, statutes, and commandments to keep them safe and guarded from the deception of the people in the world, and that's why everyone is eventually looking upon the nakedness of the Israelites. All right, that's why Hosea 8:8, it says, Israel is swallowed up, now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. All right, so we are a people of no pleasure. That's why you see them doing this crate challenge, pretty much fighting over Popeye's chicken, rap music, the nigga lifestyle, the black culture, all this stuff is complete darkness. And this is the nations looking upon that shame, and they're glad at it. When you get in the book of Lamentations 2:15, it tells you that these nations finally rejoice for conquering the nation of Israel. But now, as I got in the book of Isaiah 25th chapter, the Lord will destroy, all right, in this government, the covenant cast is over all nations, but that's going to come by the way of exposing the wicked through the remnant. All right. Matter of fact, 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 8, it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed. Let's read this to the right. It says, then the man of lawlessness, all right, and do as thou wilt, right, will be revealed, but the Lord Yahushua will kill him with the breath of his mouth, all right, spoken by what? The prophets, and destroy him by the splendor of his coming. You see that? This man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power and signs of miracles. That's why you see everything being GMO'd, genetically modified, or everything is artificial. This is this anti-Messiah. So he's after the working of Satan. So we had to be revealed by the remnant, the prophets, who, like I said before, are a target for extermination. Let's get this real quick. I think it's Isaiah 32. Let's see. Isaiah 32 and verse 7, the instruments, okay, also the churl of evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. All right, the needy is talking about the prophets who are speaking right. So he's devising instruments and plotting and scheming to destroy his brother Jacob once more. Let's read this to the right. The smooth tricks of scoundrels are evil. They plot crooked schemes. They lie to convict the poor, even when the cause of the poor is just. That's it, man. So what we're doing right now is just we're speaking the end of this man's rulership, because without him, there can no peace come. There can no peace come to this earth. So Romans 8, and let's see here. Yeah, Romans 8 and verse 19, for the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of God. So inwardly, everyone is seeking what? They're seeking peace. They're seeking answers, and they don't know that the sons of God are going to be the ones that bring this peace upon the earth after 1,000 years of putting these other nations into slavery. After that, everyone is going to be in peace, and that's written in the book of Isaiah the 14th chapter and also Isaiah the 2nd chapter. All right. So all creatures waiting for the manifestation of the sons of the power, for the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him that would have subject the same in hope. Okay. And ultimately, that's us being corrupted in the flesh, but we're about to receive those immortal bodies where we can't be corrupt anymore. And after that, these nations will look at us as a wise and very glorious nation once more, man. All right, so verse 22, let's skip down. Romans 8 and 22. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together unto now. And not only ourselves, but not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, as we have received now, the believers, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why did he yet hope for? Okay, so but if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. All right, so ultimately, everyone is waiting for the Israelites to come back into power and to establish the world in righteousness. That's in the book of Proverbs 29 verse 2. And also Wisdom of Solomon, where it speaks about the welfare of the world. All right, Wisdom of Solomon 6 and verse 24. It says, but the multitude of the wise, which represents the believers, the elect, the 144,000, it says it's the welfare of the world. The world of what? Israel, and ultimately the whole entire world. And a wise king is the upholding of the people. Receive therefore instruction through my words, and it shall do you good. And that's what the remnant is doing now. All right, as written in the book of Isaiah 10 and verse 20, it says a remnant shall return. Those are the ones that will repent. Also Isaiah 59. We'll get it real quick and then we'll close it out. Also Isaiah 59 and 21. It says, as for me, this is my covenant with them, saith the Lord, my spirit that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth should not depart out of thy mouth, nor the mouth of thy seed, nor the mouth of thy seed, said the Lord, from henceforth and forever. So this is an everlasting covenant that the Lord is about to make with his people, to give us new bodies and to give the first fruits, first dominion of the kingdom of heaven, which will establish this earth in righteousness, as written, thou will be done in earth as it is in heaven. So with that, Lord willing, that you will edify. Till next time I say, Shalom, and DTA, and Abba, and so on.